Hunger, greed, want, need, nature, nurture. He never meant to hurt her, it was never meant to go further. He was born in too deep. How was he supposed to escape the streets, influenced by a world that would guide him? He grew up with no parents to confide in. The world set shining examples for his choice of the life he was bound to. She awakes early. She creeps around the house quieter than a mouse, slippers silence her steps. Within her grows regrets. She's made her bed, and now has to lie in it, though her bed now has a lion in it. The lion's a coward, but like most a bully, and this lion stops her from living fully. He restricts her social life. And it's no use arguing, because he's always right, and if you can't win with words, he'll win with fists. She's beaten by the same hand she once held and kissed. Her fingers rifled through a drawer of finger-painted rainbows. In this one drawer is all her hope. A drawing of mummy and daddy holding hands. She'd come into contact with them, but not the way a child planned. See, there once was a beam of light in her life. With her absence, the colours greyed, the blue skies greyed, a lot of things he swore would never happen, happened. Like his wife's beautiful brown eyes blackened. And his world got smaller overnight, the four grotty walls, but he found sanctuary framed in the fridge. And as beers consumed years, years became tears. But his liver wasn't the only thing that was rotting. It worked its way into his memories, and soon the best parts of him were forgotten. There was a rawness to his actions, as captions of a past life flashed through his mind, and he tried to deny their existence. You have to admire her persistence. It was inspirational. But bravery was her greatest flaw. See, this one time she packed her bag and headed for the door, but a spark that was once a fire inside her reminded her of what they had once been. And okay, chances of returning to that weren't strong, but she was willing to hold on to hope. So she convinced herself she could cope. A few brown eyes turned black were more than worth it if it could revive what they lacked. But she knew scars and bruised tissue wasn't the real issue, it wasn't skin deep. It was the lack of what they had once put to sleep, so what once filled their hearts with love now filled them with grief. Till one night, when it escalated beyond repair, as he threw her to the ground and gripped her by the hair, and she became loose. By struggling and writhing, and ran to the kitchen, and just so happened to pick up the first thing. It was a knife. And as he ran towards her, she plunged that knife deep. There was a release of breath, but it wasn't a scream. As he fell to the floor, collapsed under straw and summoned the strength to crawl towards her broken body. She had pierced her left breast, and with her one last breath, she said, "This hurts, but not as much as you hurt me. But I'll always love you. I hope you still love me." And before her life was released, the coward found the courage to speak. He says, "I love you." And as police broke into the room lit by the light of the moon, he saw himself for what he really was, a murderer, with blood-stained hands and in them his wife's body. Before he was tackled to the ground, he gently whispered, "I'm sorry." Hunger, greed, want, need, nature, nurture. He never meant to hurt her, it was never meant to go further. He was born in too deep. How was he supposed to escape the streets, influenced by a world that would guide him? He grew up with no parents to confide in. The world set a shining example. So was it his choice or the life he was bound to?